Hello, friends. Welcome back to Gecko's Gaming. Today I'm going to be going over this mono red deck. Very interesting take on the mono red deck. I call it Juicy Red because it's mono red with a tiny little blue splash for Scalding Viper. And I'll get into that more in a minute, but I just wanted to start by talking about my qualifier weekend competition this past weekend. I chose a version of this deck that was a little bit clunkier, a little bit less refined, and this is my updated version. But I was sort of on vacation when I was prepping for the event, and I was visiting family and stuff, so I didn't put as much as I should have into preparation for qualifier weekend. And I went 2-3 with mono red, and in my preparation I had a really powerful, effective plan for Cauldron. I had a really good plan for Dimir Mid range, and I had good plans for a lot of the other top decks. But the one I was struggling to figure out was the mono red mirror, and it just turns out that I ran into that deck a lot there, and I wasn't quite ready for it. And I knew I wasn't quite ready for it, but then when I went into the actual competition that day, I found that I played against two mono red decks in my 5 matches, and both of them I lost the die roll, and I was not prepared to win on the draw against mono red, which is tough in the first place, but there's things you can do to make that better. And I also didn't have the right mix of interaction, and I had a few clunkers in my deck, like I was still playing Oger, which I just cut the last one. And I knew kind of going into it, like I was trying to figure out, I didn't have enough time, but I knew my mono red match was not great. And I think that was the one thing where if I just had a few more hours to prep, I think I would have gotten that down. But that's okay. I think I came out with some pretty good wisdom about the red mirrors, and I'm happy to share that with you all today. Let's go over this deck first. I haven't. This is like for a little while there were two mono red decks that emerged as the top competitors. There was this one, and then there was the one that has Heartfire Hero and what's the land called? I have it actually. I can go take a look at that deck real quick and show you guys. Rockface Village, of course. Yeah, so this was kind of one version of the deck, and then you get the Emberheart Heroes instead of the Scalding Viper, and then you have Rockface Village, which is nice because it can draw you cards off Emberheart in the late game, but it also gives Higher Claw haste, which is pretty nice too. But it does really hurt your mana. It makes it harder to cast your interaction spells like Burst Lightning. And I think that Emberheart Challenger is better in the mirror because it doesn't die to Nova Hellkite. But it's a lot worse against Cauldron. And Cauldron is the top deck right now. So that's why I went with the Blue Splash, because they can more or less just ignore Emberheart Challenger. It's just going to attack them for 2 or 3 damage a turn. And its body doesn't matter. The card draw doesn't really matter because the games usually don't last that long. So they can pretty much just ignore the Challenger, but they can't ignore Scalding Viper, which is very strong against them. It basically is like Needlehead's 5 through 8 against Cauldron. And Needlehead is kind of well known for being one of the best cards, and one of the reasons this deck is good is because Needlehead is so good against Cauldron decks. So that's why I chose to play the blue version. But let's go back to my list here, which I have dubbed Juicy Red. And this deck, I first saw this a few weeks ago from actually Quiniac, who the same player who debuted the mono red mouse deck back when everybody was playing blue black demons and blue black tempo. I think it was in the October 2024 World Championship, and Quiniac I think top forward with a sick mono red list, and this was also his red list that I just popped up on Goldfish a few weeks ago. And if somebody else built it first, forgive me for not crediting them, but I saw Quinn was the first one to post the version that had the River Pirate Verges and the Scalding Tarn, which is kind of a free splash because this is basically just a mountain anyways. It doesn't have any downside in the deck to include it. Spire Bluff Canal has a little bit of downside. It can enter taps. in the later games. But since we have no other tap lands and all of our lands are pretty much they tap for mana that we need and all of that, the exception of Soulstone Sanctuary. We there's not a lot of stress on the land, so I think you can afford to play a couple extra Spire Bluff Canals, even given the downside. But yeah, Quiniac first came up with this deck. I think the guy, from what I've seen, he's just broken red like so many times recently, and the guy deserves a lot of credit. I think he's one of the best red mages out there. And if anybody knows how to get in touch with him, let me know. I've looked for him on Twitter and stuff, but um, yeah, if anybody knows how to get a hold of him, I'd love to talk to him sometime. So let me know if you do. But yeah, this is basically my variation on what he started with the blue splash for Scouting Viper. And whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, it deals 1 damage to that player. So against the Cauldron decks, they're basically just trying to chain off a bunch of cheap spells in the same turn. It's very strong. Now, one thing I like about Scouting Viper 2 is that we get the bounce side, which is return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand at sorcery speed. This is another type of effect that mono red decks are used to being able to have. This can deal with enchantments. This can deal with huge tokens like demon tokens. This can deal with a lot of things that it can deal with a Screaming Nemesis, when you need to, which is the best card in the mirror. So it gives red a lot of dimensions of interaction that it usually doesn't have. It's very powerful in that respect. So when you can cast Steam Clean, it's great, but you don't always need to. Sometimes just the taxes, the pinging from the red, Needlehead, and Viper really add up fast to make your opponent put themselves in a hole where they can't get out of, just to try to play Magic. And what I like about the deck is that, from a deck building perspective, you can almost count it as both. Like, it's a creature, but then it also has this added upside of being a very powerful interaction spell enough of the time when you have your blue out. So yeah, it's really nice for deck building because I get to count it basically as another creature, but then it also doubles as another removal spell when it needs to be. So we get extra creature and an extra threat and extra interaction all in once, plus a bunch of utility. Plus, it's really good. Like I said, it's really good against Cauldron, the best deck in the format. Now, however, this is weak against mono red, and I know Steam Clean is nice against Nemesis, but the body of the Viper is not okay. It's in mono red mirrors the. It's all about board presence and all about who has the biggest creatures on the board and who has the best burn and the most damage output. And Scouting Viper just gets stomped on by everything. It can't even trade with the Needlehead when it needs to block. Nova Hellkite kills it for... It's just a total blowout to have a 2-mana spell die to Nova Hellkite. It doesn't really block anything profitably. Doesn't trade well. It can't attack very well either because of the small body. So in the mirror, it's not great, and especially on the draw. But yeah, like I said, the bounce spell is big game against Nemesis. So if you're in the mirror, I still think you can play it sometimes. I still think it's reasonable to keep it in maybe two or three copies just to Steam Clean on Nemesis, and then whatever at that point, whatever the creature side is just sort of upside. All that being said, though, it's not great in the mirror match. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's one reason why this version is struggles a little bit more in the mirror than the Heartfire Hero version, because not Heartfire Hero, Emberheart Challenger. I'm sorry, Emberheart Challenger does survive Nova Hellkite. It has a beastie body. The prowess is nice for burn exchanges. And yeah, other than that, the deck is pretty self-explanatory. Everybody's seen this before. The main things that I'll point out are I'm playing 2 Shocks and I'm playing the full 4 Lightning Strike, 4 Burst Lightning. Just really want to be able to go to the face a lot. And also, this again is a concession to how much red there is right now. You got to have these early tempo, neutral, or positive interaction spells to deal with Needlehead and Hired Claw and Bastronaut and that type of thing. It's also totally fine against the stock Cauldron lists. They're playing Steam Core Scholar. It's a blowout against Steam Core Scholar. It answers the Shark, the 1-drop Mako, so it has some utility there too. It's not totally dead. When it comes to Cauldron, it's just one of the reasons this red deck is so good, and I don't know if this is an open secret. I don't see a lot of people talking about this. The reason these red decks are so good against Cauldron is not just because of Needlehead and because of the early power. It's also because the deck just kind of dies to Lightning Strike. Um, none of their guys come down other than Quantum Riddler. None of their creatures come down with more than 3 toughness, and then they need to spend resources to put the counter on it. And you can always just strike it in response. And they don't really play counter spells in the main deck. They don't play creature protection like Dive Down or anything like that. They do have usually a couple spell pierces in the sideboard, so you got to watch out for that. But I mean, you can just go to town all day. If you have 4 lightning strikes, 4 braids, it's really hard for the deck to do anything as long as you just keep 2 mana up. So that's one reason. I mean, lightning strike is actually pretty good in the format right now because of how useful it is against Cauldron. Um, yeah, and then with Stalker Frenzy, keep in mind you can frenzy your nemesis to finish them off and deal 5 damage to the face. That's a pretty good trick. And yeah, but other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory, the list here. There is a lot of questions sometimes about Viper takes a little bit of getting used to play. There's a lot of questions about whether you want to steam clean first or just cast the creature and skip the steam clean. Yeah, there's a lot of tension with the Scouting Viper and knowing when to steam clean and when to just cast the Viper and skip the steam clean. Like you definitely don't want to miss your 2-drop with this deck very often. So you lose the value of the steam clean there. But sometimes you need to play. Also, like the Viper is better the earlier that you get it down, though. So if you put a Viper on turn 2, it's going to deal more burn damage to them as they're casting their spells to get set up early on. So there is it takes some getting used to knowing when to play the creature and when to get the value and save the interaction with it. And the sideboard I have here is it's I'm kind of going for a combination of both flexibility and transformative. And I basically my friend Randall Bagans and I actually we discovered Possibility Technician, like the power of this card just playing limited. And we had it in our sealed deck and we just kept reading it over and over again and thinking about it with the rest of the pool and what it did. And it just like kept getting better and better the more that we read it. And then when we started playing it, it just like continued to just overperform in ways that are kind of hard to explain when you first read the card. But this is absolute gas, and so I decided to try it out in constructed in the sideboard of red for when the games slow down and you want to have a source of card advantage. And it's been really strong. I bring it in against Dimir, and they can't answer it really. I mean, they can't really stop the amount of card draw there. It typically overwhelms them. And then I also bring it in against Cauldron when I'm on the draw, and against blue white control and things like that. When you want to board into like just mono removal and be more of a controlling or a mid range strategy, Possibility Technician really enables that. And it's very powerful. And the more that you have, it has like what's the opposite of diminishing returns? It's like the more that you have in your deck, the better they all become, because they dig towards the next one, and then if they like pick off your Technician or something, then the next one comes down, and it can still play the cards that were exiled with the original one, and they stack up like that over the course of the game. And then each one's drawing 2 cards like that. But then also, if you have a Possibility Technician in play already, and you play another one, then they both trigger on the ETB effect, and you're just at that point you're just drawing so many cards that it's out of control. So this is my own spice that and something I wanted to try, and it's been really good so far, and I'm going to continue using it. And he kind of plays both sides of the ball. Like he can block well. He's a fine attacker. He's a threat too. So I'm doing this instead of the Chandra and things like that. People are playing. What's the other one? The draw 2 after you discard your hand thing. I tried Counter Luck a little bit too. That one was pretty good, but the Possibility Technician just does everything. I mean, you don't want to really take a lot. Like the fact that first of all, you can also cast it for 2 mana also. So in addition to everything else, you can just play it for 2 mana if you miss your land drop to catch up. And then none of the other card draw or card advantage things that red really has access to that are playable, you can play for 2 mana without a lot, just basically throwing away cards, and this one doesn't do that. Um, so yeah, I think it allows a lot of flexibility, and like I said, it's a beefcake. I do believe it's basically Red's version of Quantum Riddler right now, and um, yeah, so that's the Kavu. In general, you have a Braids for Cauldron, Obliterating Bolt also for Cauldron, but also for Dimir. It takes out Kaido, which they may not have post board against you, but it definitely hits Enduring Curiosity and Preacher of the Schism and all the cards you need to get against them. They play Elegy Acolyte, they play Vran. It hits everything you need. Magebane Lizards, I bring these in for, and I can, actually, I do have a sideboard guide that I'm thinking about publishing, so let me know if anybody's interested in that for all the major matchups. But yeah, for the Magebane Lizard, I bring that in against Blue White and against Cauldron decks, and especially the more combo oriented Cauldron decks, the ones that play Artist Talent or the ones that are more control or like the Prowess type versions. Possibility Technician, we already talked about. Bringing it in against Blue Red if you're on the draw. Bringing it in against Dimmer. Bringing it against Blue White. Bringing it in when you want to grind out and slow down. And then Stingerback Terror is for red mirror matches. This is the best way to blank Nova Hellkites. However, you have to be careful because it kind of has to be like the last card you play. And so it can be, a lot of times it can come down too slow and be too late to the party. And sometimes like just burn is better to finish them off. So just keep that in mind with the Stingerback Terror. Sunspine Links, unfortunately I can only fit one in here. But it's not that good against really the top decks right now. It's good against Blue Light Control. And then it's good against some other random things that you can run into. But against Cauldron, I mean, the reason I've gone down to one is because against the top three, Cauldron, Dimir, and Mono Red, it's bad against all of them. So you just don't need that much of this right now. And I like to keep my curve low. Another big advantage of the Possibility Technician is that it's lower cost. But then it rewards you for having a low curve in the rest of your deck because it gives you a higher probability of casting the spell the same turn that you get from it. So yeah, that's the deck. Thanks so much for everybody for sitting through that and for watching. And we're going to hop into some games here, some matches, and I'll show you what it can do. And yeah, let me know if you're interested in hearing more or seeing a sideboard guide against it, about it. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop in. Sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention about the Possibility Technician. Okay, Soulstone Sanctuary counts as a Kavu for Possibility Technician. So if you have some Possibility Technicians that come out and they trade off or they die, then you can the cards that they have exiled, once you activate Soulstone Sanctuary later in the game, you can cast those cards again. So another just great advantage to this card in here. And yeah, it really is an all-star in the deck so far. So thanks, everybody. And we'll go ahead and jump into some games. All right, first round. I will play first. This hand's fine, yeah. Another land would be great. But that does seem like something that is possible for us to draw into, so we'll keep this. Blue red, this could be a Cauldron deck. Got another Hired Claw. I think I'll play that. Hold on to the Viper for now. This gets in 2 damage from triggers. Play first main. There's Profs. Card's crazy. And here I think I just want to stick a Nemesis. If I had interaction, I would probably hold it up for a creature, especially if I had Lightning Strike, but given that I don't, I'm just gonna try to run them over before they can do their thing. Steel Core, sure. I can Viper that if I hit a mountain. Or I can bounce it if I hit a mountain, I mean, because that would turn on River Pyre Verge. Okay, no such luck. But if I play Nova Hellkite, I think they have to block it with the Steam Core, otherwise they die, so. Let's do that. And what's nice is I can ping it with the Steam Core, it makes it I can't block it with the Nemesis too. Yeah, GG. Okay, so on the draw, I want the Abrades, I want the Mage Banes, I want the Bolts, and I want Technician. Because we're just bringing in a bunch of removal. And for cuts, I cut some Shocks. I can probably cut... Yeah, we'll cut 2 Shocks. Burst Lightnings are still okay. We want to cut the Nova Hellkite, it's too slow, especially on the draw. I cut Nemesis against Blue-Red too, especially on the draw. And then at this point, it's kind of just Witchstalker Frenzy and Bastronauts, I think. It's a combination of those. Let's try this. I don't know, I mean, the Bastronaut's just kind of bad in general against them. Or it's just too slow, I guess. But I don't want to board out too many threats. We have like 16 removal spells now. 17. We'll try it like this. Yeah, you don't need Nemesis because they don't gain life for one thing. They can often block it profitably because their creatures get big fast. And most importantly though, it just lines up very poorly against their interaction. They have a bunch of 1-mana spells to take care of it. They can have up to 4 Flood Maws, they have 2 Unable to Screams usually. Even a burn spell they don't really mind hitting it with, as long as it's not picking off a creature on its way out. So I think here I'm probably good to cast another Claw and just hold up Burst Lightning. Because even if they have put down an X3 that I can't kill this turn, I can deal with the next turn with the Viper by bouncing it. Sure. Brave my Hard Claw. Pass. And hopefully I can just hit like a Steam Core Scholar here, that'd be ideal. Vivi, sure. Don't mind a Vivi. Nice, Obliterating Bolt's a good draw there. You want to exile the Vivis whenever you can, so they can't get it back with Cauldron. FOMO, sure. Discard. Discard a Cauldron. Could mean they have a duplicate. So, and just kind of, so you know what I'm doing here, I'm just 1-for-1ing all their creatures, and then I'm going to play the Kava at the end and just secure the card advantage there. And I'm trying to decide if I want to Obliterating Bolt this or Lightning Strike it on their turn. I think I just like the Obliterating Bolt. We still have Burst Lightning up. We still have Scouting Viper if we need it to clean up. Sure. We have Cauldron, nothing to do with it. There's one High Claw they could get, but they have no creature to target anyways. Let's go ahead and bounce the Cauldron and play Viper. Okay, that's fine. Play Mage Bane, hold up Lightning Strike. Steam Core, sure. Okay, they have a Vivi in there now. So this is where you just burst the Scholar in response. Getting some real slow play from the opponent here. Last time I said hello, they clicked priority once. Maybe they can we can get them to do that again. Alright, next opponent. Play first. Lead with the Bastronaut. This is an example, like I was saying, where I will play the Viper on turn 2 to make sure I'm getting in the 2-drop and applying the most pressure. They could have a Floodpace Drowner, and that would be probably the worst case here. Yeah, they do. Okay. They're missing a land drop, that's not good for them. I'm trying to decide if I should play the Viper now or not. I think I should. Alright, well that was kind of a non-game, they just didn't hit lands. These are the cards we want against blue-black. We want Obliterating Bolts and Kavu, Possibility Technician. And I usually cut the Screaming Nemesis. And you can cut some of these small interaction. I know the deck is known for having a lot of small creatures, but in the current iteration, it has a lot more bigger butts and things like that you have to account for. Especially post-board. Keep this. We just strike the Cecil so that we can get going here. Maybe I should have bounced it with the Viper. But Viper has the ability to hit bigger things like this here. Okay, well I have an Obliterating Bolt. Everything's just going swimmingly for me so far. This set. Karsi Revenant, sure. Bounce that. And then if I attack with the Higher Claw, it would trade with the Karsi Revenant. I think I'll just play the Viper though. It's still early enough where I want to... They have 5 cards in hand. Can do a lot of damage. Oh, Malicious Eclipse is pretty good. It's a pretty good one there. Okay, now we'll start with the Technicians. I'll save the Burst Lightning for later rather than just doing 2 to the face right now. But at least that gets me closer to my 5th land for the Hellkites. Obliterating Bolt, perfect. Go ahead and bolt the Revenant. Maybe I should have saved it for in case they have a Enduring Curiosity. Okay, so they just get to eat this with the Higher Claw, that's fine. They get to eat the Higher Claw with the Tidebinder, I mean. There's the Curiosity, yeah. That might be... I may have just punted that game in a way that I didn't need to. We'll see if we can get some more well, I need lands and removal, so... Oof, that's... Oh yeah, that's rough, because now I can't hit it with the Hellkite. That's pretty big. Big game. I should have... Yeah, if I was going to play the Kavu, I should have held my land. Floodpit's Drowner's coming down next turn. That's going to hit the Hellkite pretty good. It's like 9 damage. think honestly the move is just attack here. Let's try to race them at this point. And I would rather block with the Hellkite, all else being equal, but I know they're drawing a Johnner right now. So it would get tapped down anyways. I definitely took the bait on the Cartsy Revenant. That was not wise. Alright, we're going to cast Possibility Technician now. It was not wise to use my Obliterating Bolt on the Cartsy Revenant. Another Technician. We're almost dead, kinda. $10, $13, I'm just counting here how much damage you can do. 2, 4, 6, 10, 13 damage to me next turn. And so if they have a removal spell for the Technician, I'm dead either way. But if I don't, maybe there's a chance. I was supposed to do that on their upkeep, oops. Alright. I think I punted that one. But we'll run it back here again. Excuse me, just gotta get a drink here. Alright, let's see if this guy can secure the pizza or not this game. Play first. Yeah, I'll keep. I did board out some of my good cards for blue-black because I felt like the matchup was so good already. And I wanted to get some more stuff for red. So we're kind of in the trial run of that right now, I suppose. Once again, I have the option to burn my Obliterating Bolt right away. And get some pressure on them. Guess I will do that. A lot of times these decks play Shoot the Sheriff, which misses Razorkin because it's an assassin. See if we can hit a removal spell here for this creature. No dice. Alright. Oh, why didn't I play the land? That was dumb. Whatever. Okay. I played the land for my hand instead of the one that I exiled from the Technician that I could only play that turn. So, just a silly mistake. So they can attack me. If I attack with everybody, I could hit the Revenant, get in for 8-ish. And then he attacks back for 5. And then we'd be at 13-ish, both each. I think that's a better play than hanging back. Or what I'll do is I'm going to do this here. We'll hold back with the Hellkite, because the Revenant would trade well for that. Why did I meant to... Okay. I just punted this game. I thought I was going to hit the Hellkite. I meant to hit the Hellkite with the Needlehead to enable that attack, and I just derped out there. Alright, now I actually do want to play the one from my hand because... what did I get? Another land, sure. Yeah, I punted this game, so... kind of punted the match, honestly. I punted last game, too. With the... by using the Obliterating Bolt too fast. Instead of playing around Curiosity. Alright, GG. I'll go to the next one. That was close. The opponent played tight and capitalized on a couple of small errors that I made, and maybe they weren't so small, especially the Obliterating Bolt. Alright, third round. Play first, 6 lands, mulligan. 1 land, also mulligan. Go to 5. I'll keep this. Put back a Shock and Lightning Strike. It's unfortunate. It would have been a really good 7 or even 6. At least we're on the play, so the Needlehead will be good. Okay, so looks like they have a burn spell or something. Okay, it's not like I can play around it, so play the Needlehead. Because it could be a Flood Maw too. Yeah, it's Flood Maw. Storm Chaser's talent. Yep. They've been playing this deck more lately because they want more cheap, like 1 mana ways to just put little bodies out there that they can put tokens on with Cauldron. Okay, so they have a burn spell. I should have attacked first. No, maybe they won't. Or maybe they just don't want to use it on the Bastion out yet. They know I have a Needlehead, so. And Viper now too, so maybe they want to save it for that. Vivi, sure. Gonna burn that thing. I think I'm just gonna take it out right now. No, I'll pass. It's such a tell because they know I have 2 creatures I can cast. But this allows us to get a little bit. This allows us to turn off the ability for them to play Cauldron plus another creature, and then activate the Cauldron on it this turn. But we could get punished by instant speed stuff, so it's pretty risky. But I have a burst lightning for backup too, so I think I can get away with it. Yeah, see, there's the Cauldron. So we're gonna burn this now. We have to burn it now, otherwise it gets a counter. And they get to pull it out with the Cauldron. They have another instant. Fire magic. Okay. Still, yeah, dies, but they get 1 mana, I guess. Fear missing out, yep. That's annoying. Put the Needlehead out, and if they want to go off, they have to take some damage, at least. That's about the best we got right now. Stuck on 3 lands for a while, it's holding us back here. Okay, I think I get this sorcery back. Fire magic, sure. Are there any other creatures in here yet? There are. So that means they could have hit me if I had bursted the FOMO. They could have put a counter on it in response. So they just basically have me now. There's nothing I can do about that. It's really rough. You know, lose this match, I think, or this game at least. Not this match necessarily, but just can't. Yeah, there's just like nothing I could do with only 3 mana. I have all the answers that I needed. I just didn't have enough mana at the time I needed it. I'd like to just, like, pass here, but... Okay, yeah, they're gonna activate Soulstone Sanctuary. Take 8. Yep. I take 8. Okay. I can't wait for this. This is just agonizing. Alright. So we're on the play. On the play, I don't try to grind them out with Technician. I like to just bring in the best removal spells that we have. Which are these. The Lizard is good too. And then we kind of cut some of the mopier, slow threats. Witchstalker Frenzy is not great. I don't mind playing like a Nemesis, but let's see what we want between these. Yeah, I'll cut the Frenzy. Yeah, I don't want to go too far down on creatures when we don't have card draw. Let's try this. Yep, I'll keep this. Good hand. Especially on the play. Put Milligan to 6. Plays a Mako. I don't care about that. Even if they play props next turn, it's fine. So I'll attack and play the Needlehead. If they play props, it's only like a 2/2. Same thing with FOMO. And then, yeah, okay, there's the Vivi getting discard now. Wish I had a 1-mana interaction, but I don't, so just pass. Sure. Point their play base. They're still mono red. They don't have their blue yet. I'm gonna let him have the mech go. Just gonna go for the face. Alright, got him. Got him that time. Alright, so now for the draw is where I just load up on removal and bring in technicians. Cut the Bastronauts. And then, yeah, Frenzy's not great here. Shock is okay, but some of these last few picks are tough to choose. I'll try it like this. Sure. Hopefully I don't know how much mileage I can get out of these burst lightnings. That's the only thing, but okay, good. That opens up the Viper. That's good. Maybe I should have played Bastronaut there, actually. I should have played Bastronaut. Definitely. Yeah, Bastion would have been a lot better, but now this is where, like, I'm just not enjoying my 3 damage spells that much here. I have 7 of them, I think. Honestly, I just have to make them have it. Because I don't have a way to play around Cauldron this turn. And they don't. So they're choosing to save 1 damage there, so that's fine. Make good use out of that burst lightning. Don't tell me they have a cauldron. Oh, they don't. Okay. Riddler is so ridiculous. Usually they board it out against red, but this opponent's pretty smart and they're not doing that. They burn through 1 fire magic. They had 1 in the main, which is kind of wild. But so they could be playing more than 2. think it's fine to play one Viper. I'll just play both, actually. Let's just play them both. We gotta get something down. I don't know. They put in us 5,000 cards, so. Possibility Technician, thank you. That's what I need. Let's check out the Sanctuary. I'm really surprised they don't have any better plays with 4 cards in hand. Honestly, the Quantum Riddler kind of seems like asking for it, so I'm just gonna play the Scouting Viper. And I scooped to Fire Magic pretty much, but if they don't have Fire Magic, we're in a very good spot. Okay, another Riddler. We must be flooding out. It's probably the best explanation. Okay, they're going to take 3, and I don't have any cards left to play with that Technician anyways, so it's pretty good. Did they discard a land, I bet? Yeah. Yeah, they were flooding out. Let's see how they are now. They just drew a bunch of cards, so that might be different here. Flooding out. I think I play it anyways, because Kavu can chain off and use a lot of mana. Looting a lot of lands. They're both kind of flooding out, but their deck has a lot more velocity to it, obviously. A lot more ability to filter and draw cards. I've only hit 1 Kavu so far, that's what I need to hit some more of. They have to like take 4 damage to do anything, so that's nice. Got that going for us. They're gonna try to put a 2-turn clock on me with the Riddler that I see. Nope, not yet. Glittering bolts. I want to think about that, how much damage I could take with these Riddlers out here. We're not in a good spot here, actually. We're dead to... If they have any card draw spell... okay. Yeah. That's where we needed the Needlehead, but... we're dead now. I think, right? 10. Yeah, we're dead. But it didn't matter if I obliterated and bolted or not. Alright, GG. Some close games, some good games there. Some good opponents. Alright, well, yeah. That's it. I don't know if I have any more thoughts on the deck going forward, things I would change. But stay tuned if you'd like to see some more content like this. Please like and subscribe and share the channel. It helps out a lot. And, of course, let me know if you have any questions or comments about the deck or the gameplay in the comments below. And I've been thinking I have a Discord channel that's just a few friends right now, and it's private, but I'm thinking about opening it up to the public, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. If I see enough interest, I might do it. But yeah, everybody have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.